Hey everybody, I want to give you a quick look at this knife here. This is from the Ontario Knife Company, and it is the Carter Squared. I think that's supposed to be a backwards S into a 2 kind of cool thing. So this is the Carter Squared. It is designed by Robert Carter, and he has some pretty cool customs if you ever have a chance to check his stuff out. And I've been kind of excited about this since I heard about it last year, and I saw it, and I didn't really care for the other one. What was that, the Prime? I wasn't a big fan of that just because of how serious that Wharning is on that. But check this out. Ooh. Oh, what do you think about that? That's pretty cool, don't you think? Hold on a second. Let me turn on some light over here. A little bit more light. What do you think? Too much light? I don't know. Okay, let's go with this. So, you kind of have a Wharning thing working here, kind of a sheep's footy thing working there, but not super Wharning. So you kind of it's not like straight down. And I like that. I like that kind of just a little bit of an upsweep on that blade. These are super easy to sharpen like this. So check out that. You got the Carter Squared D2 there. And over here you got a small Ontario Knife logo. I know, and like I said, I know a lot of people don't like too much of this, but that seems kind of minimalized there. All right, let's check out what we got here. We got 3.5 inches of D2 steel. That black stonewashed blade there is really awesome. I just love the way it looks. I would do some cutting on this, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna sell it or not. While I like the knife overall, I have a couple of problems with it that you might not have problems with because you have normal size hands. So I'm going to check out the width of this blade, the thickness of this blade here. Let's check that out back here. You're looking at 5.23 millimeters and right at 0.20 inches. Right? Yeah, so about 1/5 of an inch there. So it's nice and thick, and it sweeps down to a really cool edge here. This thing is super sharp. It just feels like you could do a lot of good work with this, but I have a couple problems with it. But we're going to get into that. But so far, so good. I love the blade. So if we can just deal with the blade there, 3.5 inches of D2, you can't go wrong with that. All right, let's check out the handle here. You got 1, 2, 3, 4. About 4 3/4 inches of titanium. Oh, I tell you what, you try to open this left-handed, I've done this a couple of times, and you have any pressure on this lock bar, you're going to feel like a total wuss as you can't get that finger on that ramp. So keep your thumb off the lock bar and thumb white, no problems. Okay, so the handle, all titanium backspacer here. It fits pretty good in the hand. I mean, it feels good in the hand. I always like the way it thins out, a knife that thins out towards the back here, and it's got a decent choil up here, or a decent thumb or finger grip up here. So you're good there. You're kind of good there. I mean, that's not too dangerous, as long as you're keeping in mind of where your finger is, and you're not doing anything too pressurized. So if you're like whittling some carrots, maybe you're good there. All right. You will notice no place to put a lanyard. Strike one, Mr. Carter. I can't say anything. He's an awesome knife designer. I'm just saying what I prefer. Okay, now it is closed off design, but it's widened out in there. It's not anything closed off back here, so you're not going to have a problem keeping your knife clean. Really substantial frame lock here. This thing is just locked up nicely. No issues with lock, rock, or sway back, or whatever. None of that. The clip it's got a nice shape to this clip, and it's really nice in your pocket. It's got a little cut out there to where you can get in your pocket fairly easily. So it's good and secure in your pocket, but it will be in your right pocket, as that is the only place you can carry this, is right side tip up, unless you want to carry it backwards in your left pocket, and then you got to keep your thumb out of the way, or you're going to look like a Momo trying to open that thing. All right, here's the issue I have with the handle on this thing, and that is this little bit coming up here bites into my hand. It's not real uncomfortable. It's not going to make me cry or anything too bad. But when you're opening it, you can feel it poke your hand there. You can feel it poke your hand if you open it down here. Now, like I said, this might just be my chunky hands, but you can tell where it's kind of poking me there in my hand. Different places where I'm trying to open this. So boom, it pokes me there. Boom, it pokes me there. And then when I have it in my hand, actually, it's poking me just this little edge. It's almost like if it looked like that, it would be perfect. If you just took that off of there, and I don't understand that. It's not like it's holding. I mean, I understand in the design, and it's got, and for a normal-handed person, it's not going to be a problem. But if you just took that much off of there, this knife would be just perfect. You know, except for the lanyard thing. No lanyard. That's not. I mean, come on now. No, I understand. A lot of people don't like the lanyard hole, and that's fine. And if this knife was without that little back point there, I wouldn't need a lanyard. This thing would just fit perfectly in your hand, and it would be super useful. Now, there's a couple other things I kind of have an issue with, and it is the unfinished feel of these scales in here. Can you hear that? And it just seems like a little bit of just milling out there, just smoothing it out a little bit. It's smoother on the outside, but on the inside, it kind of bites a little bit. So if you're doing this all day, and if you're using this as a worker, which this feels like a worker, this feels like something you would take and do some box breaking down with, or just something you could use repetitively because of this grip. The grip is awesome on this. And if it wasn't for this pokey thing and the sharpness. Now, I know this might be unfair to bring this knife out, but I want to show you what I'm talking about on the smoothness of that titanium. I know, it's not fair. This is my favorite Kaiser of all time. However, check this out. See the way that it's not even like super rounded like this is. It's just finished off a little bit. And it doesn't feel like they just machined it and let it go. It's actually got a little bit of smoothness on that titanium. And if this titanium was finished off like this titanium, and I'm not talking about the finish itself as far as being a little shiny or whatnot, but look, this is what I'm talking about. See how this almost comes down almost exactly like that. And you just take that butt end off, and this is a different knife. If this isn't there, it's almost like that. Can you see that? Do you see what I'm talking about? So you take that little point off of the butt here, and all of a sudden this is just like this. Man, I love this knife. This knife is something else. And this Carter Squared is a good knife. And for most people, like I said, without larger hands, it's not going to be an issue. However, a lot of people that want a decent-sized blade like that are going to have larger hands. And I think that's going to poke into your hand a little bit if you're going to use it on a repetitive basis. Repetitive. That's a hard word to say when your energy drink is wearing off or kicking in, either way. So let's keep going on this. It runs on bearings, I'm pretty sure. I don't know. Does it? Does it run on bearings? It looks like it runs on bearings in there. The lock is a little sticky, but I've read that it opens up a little bit. It's not too bad. If you got any kind of knife experience, it's not going to be bad. Man, but this thing it kind of pokes you to open it. See what I'm saying? See that redness? That's just from opening this thing. You see that? It's not hurt. I'm not going to cry. I see you looking at me. But it's just enough to, I don't know, maybe make you think twice about purchasing this. It's a great knife. Just a couple of things I have an issue with. Of course, one of the things was the finish, the inside of this. I mean, you can tell it's kind of sharpened. Getting your thumb in here is not a problem because of the way they milled out this part here. So you can get your thumb in there. That's not an issue. Even left-handed, that's not an issue. It's not an issue closing this thing. Keep your thumb out of the way of that bar. It's going to snap right open. It's like a 80% cool knife. And I think if you had any skills, I mean, if you're a skilled kind of machiner or Dremel artist, you could mill that out pretty easily. I don't know what you're going to do about this, though. Man, it's so frustrating. If that was just gone, I don't know what it does. It doesn't really hold your hand in place. That's the things that hold my hand in place are this here and this here. So that's not doing anything back here besides poking me in my chunky hand. And if you have a bigger hand, it's going to be a little bit uncomfortable right there. Okay, let's weigh this thing real quick before we drag on too much further here. All right. Let's look at it. All right, it is 6.53 ounces. That's, you know. See what I'm talking about? Man, look, you're a Momo. That's not too bad for the size of this thing. And especially if you're going to use it as a work knife. I don't know. A lot of you would want to EDC that. 185 grams. You're getting kind of up there towards heavy knife range, especially even on this channel. You're looking at something a little bit heavier. But it would be so useful. It really would. D2 steel. It's good worker steel. It's not going to break down on you. Just this right here and maybe the inside are going to prevent this from being a worker that you're going to want to keep. And when you're doing work like that, and a lot of you guys know, it's the little things that start getting on your nerves. And it's the little pokey things that you're like, ugh, I don't want to carry that knife today. Let me grab my Formax. This is smooth all the way around. Now I know they're two different knives and two different companies and two different price points and all that. But when you have something in hand that's not full of hot spots, you're going to start grabbing that thing, and I think that's what's going to happen with if you buy this Carter Squared. If you have bigger hands than the Carter Squared, it's going to be an issue. Let's see what it looks like compared to a couple of different knives. Here's my pink PM2. So you can see there's a length similarity there, right? Blade length. I like the blade. I like the thickness of this blade. I like everything about that blade. There isn't anything on that blade that I don't like. So I like the blade. I like the handle right there. So, and I know y'all think I'm a wuss, but I'm just trying to point out things that might bother you about this knife. Okay, here's the Ultimate Hunter. Same kind of blade length there. But see, this is another thing. There aren't any hot spots on this knife. Now, if I had to choose one of these to use for hours on end, just say the steel is the same steel, I'm going to use this one. Just because I don't have the edge problems and I don't have this pokey thing in the butt there. And the Cold Steel Ultimate Hunter is pretty awesome itself. Oh, and you know what? We go back to titanium knives. Let's just talk about that Kaiser Mjolnir. And the smoothness of it is what would sell me. It's not, I know that the Mjolnir has got M390 or whatnot, and I'm not talking about that, but let's just say there's a D2 Mjolnir. I would buy that over that because of the way the handle feels. This just feels a little bit unfinished, and this sharpness is going to get to you eventually. Okay, I think that's it. I'm not down on this knife, and I just don't know if it's my favorite. I don't know if I would spend that much money, I think there's $135 on a knife that's going to be pokey. Now, if you're getting it just to collect it, sure, it's cool looking. Bring it out, snap it out, carve open a watermelon, chop open a pumpkin, or whatever you got to do with it. But if you're going to use this as a work knife, I don't think so. I think this is going to get on your nerves, and I think that sharp edges, that machine sharpness there, is going to get to you. I love the blade, and I love the feel. I love the feel of it before I start doing anything with it. If this was smoothed out, I mean, it's like I was showing you on that Mjolnir. I love the way this is shaped down like this. I love it. But just those different things are going to prevent me from recommending this completely. I mean, it's a super cool knife. And the way it looks, and it's super cool, and its concept, I just think they could have done a couple things different. All right, let me know what you think. Have you tried this knife out? are you interested in buying this knife? You know, it might be for sale. Send me an email. Let me know. And get over to Facebook. We talk about it some more over there. Lots of cool stuff going on. Great people going on over there. I think that's it. And I will talk to y'all later.